Today, we are diving deep into a condition that might just be the secret culprit behind a whole bunch of health issues that, honestly, you probably thought were totally unrelated. So, let me ask you, does any of this sound familiar? You know, that feeling of brain fog where you just can't seem to focus? Or what about that constant annoying bloating that feels like it comes out of absolutely nowhere? Or maybe it's skin stuff like acne or eczema that you just can't seem to get rid of.
I know, it really feels like those have to be three different problems, right? But what if they're not? What if there's one single underlying issue in your body that's secretly pulling all the strings?
Well, that hidden issue actually has a name. Most people call it leaky gut. Now, the more scientific name for it is intestinal permeability. And what it all boils down to is the strength of the barrier that's supposed to be protecting your entire body. So, what on earth does that actually mean? Okay, picture the lining of your gut like it's a super high-tech border checkpoint. A leaky gut is basically what happens when that border security fails. And when it does, things that are supposed to stay safely inside the gut, we're talking undigested food, toxins, bacteria, they escape. They leak into your bloodstream, where, you guessed it, they can cause all sorts of chaos.
And this comparison just lays it out perfectly. Over on the left, you've got a healthy gut. It has these amazing things called tight junctions that hold all the cells together, kind of like a super disciplined border guard. They only let pre-approved single molecules get through. But then you look over on the right at the compromised barrier, and those junctions are loose. The border has been breached, and now all these big, unintended particles are just pouring through.
You know, Dr. Sten Ekberg puts it so simply. He says the gut is basically a tube. When we eat something, that food isn't really inside our body yet. It's only truly inside once it's been perfectly broken down and absorbed, one tiny molecule at a time. Everything else is supposed to just pass right on through. Okay, so the big question is, what would make this incredibly important, carefully controlled border just break down? Well, let's get into the key drivers, which often come down to our diet and lifestyle. Turns out a whole bunch of different factors can weaken those tight junctions. Think of it like this. A diet that's low in fiber, that starves all the good bacteria that basically act as the maintenance crew for your gut wall. At the same time, eating tons of sugar and processed foods, that fuels the bad inflammatory microbes that are actively trying to tear that wall down. And when you add in the effects of chronic stress and maybe too much alcohol, well, you've got the perfect storm for damaging this critical lining. So the barrier is breached. Now what? Well, this is where it all comes full circle. This is how we connect the dots back to those symptoms we talked about at the beginning, because the ripple effect from a leaky gut is felt literally all over your body. Of course, the most obvious signs are right there at the source, in your gut. This can look like chronic diarrhea or constipation, constant gas and bloating. It can even be the root cause of things like IBS or SIBO. But really, these are often just the tip of the iceberg. A damaged gut also means you can't absorb nutrients properly, which can lead to all sorts of deficiencies. And to really get a feel for the kind of chaos we're talking about, we need to appreciate the scale of what's happening. I mean, the gut barrier isn't just precise, it's almost unimaginably precise. So let's take a single molecule of glucose, from sugar. Its size is measured at about 180 daltons, which is just a super, super tiny unit of mass. This little guy is the perfect size. It's the pre-approved cargo that your gut is designed to let through. Now get this. An antigen, that's a particle big enough for your immune system to spot and flag as a potential threat, is around 9,000 daltons. That's about 50 times bigger. This is absolutely not supposed to get through the barrier. And when it does, your immune system freaks out and sounds the alarm. And now, for the grand finale, a single bacterium. Its size is a staggering 6 trillion daltons. I mean, the scale is it's almost impossible to wrap your head around it. We've gone from one tiny molecule to something literally billions of times larger.
This is the ultimate uninvited guest that your gut barrier is built to keep out at all costs. And it's what can slip through when that barrier is compromised.
So when all these unintended particles start flooding your bloodstream, your immune system just goes into overdrive, creating inflammation everywhere. And that can show up on your skin as eczema or acne. It can feel like joint pain, or it can even be why you suddenly develop new food sensitivities. And over time, this can lead to the immune system getting really, really confused.
And this is so critical to understand. Autoimmune disease is what happens when your body's defense system gets so overwhelmed by this constant stream of invaders from the gut that it can no longer tell the difference between you and the enemy. So it starts attacking your own tissues, your thyroid, your joints, in what's basically a tragic case of friendly fire.
But the fallout doesn't stop there. This whole inflammatory cascade can directly impact your brain. It can cause headaches, that classic brain fog we mentioned, and even memory issues. The bacteria in our gut can even kind of hijack our nervous system, driving intense cravings for sugar and contributing to things like anxiety and depression. And here's exactly why your brain is so vulnerable. See, our bodies have two incredibly important, highly selective barriers. The first one is the one we've been talking all about, the gut barrier. And the second one, it's the blood-brain barrier. The connection between the two is so direct and so powerful. The very same things that damage your gut lining, all that inflammation and stress, they also damage the blood-brain barrier. So let me put it really simply. If you have a leaky gut, chances are you probably have a leaky brain too.
So when you zoom out and look at the big picture, what this all comes down to is that the health of our gut, it isn't just about digestion. It is truly the foundation of our entire body's wellness.
You know, there's a really good reason why the trillions of tiny microbes living inside our gut are often called our second brain. They're constantly communicating with our body's systems, and they influence everything from our mood and our cravings to the actual strength of our immune system. Which really just leaves us with one final thought to chew on. From our skin, to our joints, to our mental clarity, so many different parts of our well-being are directly tied to the health of that one single cell lining in our gut. So could it be that taking care of this one system is actually the master key to unlocking our overall health?